Test. Trying. We're live.
All right. We have a formal voice that started, so. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Calling to order the June 23rd meeting of the James Allen Charter High School Board of Directors. To start off tonight, we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. So all in favor, please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. All right, taking off actions tonight, we've got the approval of this evening's agenda. Do I have a motion from the board to do such?
I would move to approve.
Mr. Price with the motion to approve the agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Woodall with the second. All those in favor, please signify with an aye. Aye. Those opposed with an nay. The ayes have it. Approval of the meeting minutes from May 18th. Do I have a motion on the floor to do so?
So moved.
Ms. Woodall with the motion to approve. Do I have a second? Ms. Manigault with the second. All those in favor, please signify with an aye. Aye. Those opposed with an nay. All right. Next up, public comment. Mr. Thorne, I believe we have no one signed up for public comment. Is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you. Moving on, financial report for approval. So we'll turn over to, yes, Hannah, is that you with us this evening?
Yes, sir. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Perfect. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. You should now be able to see the May 2026 critical financial metrics. Is everyone able to see that?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. Today, I will be going over the May financials as well as a second run through of the fiscal year 27 budget draft for approval by the board. I'll begin with the critical financial metrics. James Island currently has just over 4 months worth of days cash on hand, which is 133 days. That's just over double the benchmark, and of course does include both the operating and Ameriprise days cash. Total operating net income is currently $1.9 million, not including capital projects. Capital project expenses are just over $2.489 million. This is only a small increase from April because Leitner had not invoiced the school for May as of the time of these reports. I believe those have since come in. This puts the total net income at a loss of $583,000, including the capital project expenses, with an $8.2 million fund equity to absorb that. The school's daily cash burn for May was just under $74,000. Looking now at the balance sheet as of May 31st, James Island has $5.4 million in operating cash and cash equivalents and $4.3 million in the Ameriprise account for a total of $9.79 million in cash. As always, you can find an itemized list of everything sitting in accounts payable in the acknowledgement packet. Moving on now to the statement of revenue and expenses. I'll start with revenue.
Hannah, can you get back to the fund balance?
Yes, sir.
Can you subtract off the payroll, I guess it is, and the accruals, liabilities? We're down to 7.6.
You don't actually subtract the accrued payroll. So basically, your total fund balance, if you were to end the year right now, technically, yes, would be 7.6 million, but that's just your fund equity, which is what you ended last year with, and then you add or subtract your net income, depending on if it's negative or positive. So that accrued payroll, that is essentially a projection of what your payroll accrual will be for your July and I think your August 15th payroll. But you don't have to add or subtract that to your fund balance because we've been recording that all year. So really, I would just think of it as what is my total fund equity plus or minus my, loss or positive net income.
Right. So no, we'll subtract off the science classroom balance to lower that down then.
Yes, sir. Yep. So however you end June net income wise would need to be added or subtracted to that fund equity. But more than likely, yes, given that you're going to be invoiced for May and June kind of back to back, it's going to probably decrease your fund balance a good bit.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Okay. I'm looking now at the statement of revenue and expenses. Looking at revenue, James Island has realized about 92% of the total budgeted revenue at $26,590,000, which is within 2% of where we'd expect you to be this much through the school year. Looking again at the bottom line, as I mentioned before, total operating net income is 1.9 million with 2.492 when you add capital projects in there, giving you a bottom line in the red of 583,000. Are there any questions on the income statement or the balance sheet before I move on to the FY27 budget?
So Dr. Musey is our treasurer, is not here. As a member of the finance committee, do you wish to, anything you'd like to add on this? Thank you.
This is up for approval, though. We're going to do each one separately, Hannah.
Okay.
We'll approve the financial.
I would move to approve. Second.
All right, so approve the motion on the floor is to approve the financials as reported. Mr. Price with the motion, Mr. Schumacher with the second. All those in favor, please signify with an aye. Aye. Those opposed with an nay. All right, the ayes have it. All right, Hannah, go ahead and proceed on to FY27 budget for approval, please.
Yes, sir, absolutely. So we are looking for a second time now at the draft of the FY27 budget. This has changed since the last time we met. We've been meeting and talking about this, Mr. Thorne and I, pretty much every week for the last while now, updating as we hear information. So you are looking at a budget based off of 1,579 students, which is the current 135th day count. Salaries as a percent of revenue in this budget is 67%, which is just a little higher than the 62% benchmark. We are budgeting a bottom line of just shy of $39,400. So as you guys know, we have had to work to reduce expenses in this budget due to the change in the formula for the vocational students that you guys have. So essentially, one vocational student used to count as 1.2, and they've reduced that to 1.0, which you guys have a really big vocational program. So unfortunately, that was about $1.8 million. So we've worked really hard to get these expenses cut down. A few places that were cut. So the additional athletic stipends that we budgeted, that was about $272,000. And then some technology lines were reduced. So cameras, computers, I believe one of the labs, which totals about $490,000 that we've worked to cut in expenses. You know, the hope would be maybe there will be some funding provided from the district to help supplement this change in weight. But I recommend budgeting conservatively until we have something in writing, until we know for sure. And then we can always do a budget amendment when we hear an update.
I think that what that means, and if you're tracking the email, it was detailed. So what that means is the $4.3 million in stadium renovations that had been set aside by CCSD for us. Our plan was to match or surpass that and do a full blow build out of the new stadium, which is going to be around the $10 million mark. So the recommendation from Hannah, the recommendation from Dr. Muse as our treasurer, the recommendation from Mr. Thorne as our principal, and the recommendation of myself as the board chair after we've talked about ad nauseum the last 2.5, 3 weeks on this topic, is not to proceed with the matching funds at this time. We still have $4.3 million that CCSD's committed. So my thought is that we go back and do a phased approach, see where that $4.3 million gets us, and maybe over the next 5 years, 7 years, 8 years, however long it takes, we develop a time-phased plan to basically get to where we want it to be. So that way, every building block is it's almost like a sequential process where it builds onto the other. So we just don't go through and use that $4.3 million and call it quits. I think we can basically, Principal Thorne's done a very good job keeping the school solvent all this time during various budget cuts and so forth. I think we'll be able to come up with the funds available in the out years. So, and I just wanted to provide everybody that context in terms of, because there was a lot of emails flying around on that topic.
We would also absorb some positions for next year. So the new health science and sports medicine position, instead of hiring someone and going more into the red, we held off on that. The PE position was also absorbed. Anything else? Oh, and a classified position. So 3 positions were absorbed. No one's losing a job. No one's being evicted. We're learning about this on May 18th. It actually happened the night of our board meeting last month. Got an email. We committed to everyone for the next fiscal year, and I think we've already shown that we got to a balanced budget based on this really late breaking bad news. So we're going to be fine and not having a burden of $4.8 million going out the door in the course of 2 years with our fund balance being 6.7. We're in a very stable position now.
So Hannah, I'd like to ask a question. So the topic of the coaching stipends. So that was a board item that previously passed. I understand the situation has changed, but if we honored that commitment in moving forward, where does that put us in terms of our overall picture? I know it reduces that $400,000 in savings, probably cuts that in half.
Well, it's 40,000, 39,000 is the we're $39,000 above zero.
Right. So that basically puts us in the negative if we honor that.
Would be
the coaching stipend.
About 232,000.
Are there any CCSD rules or regulations that basically keep us from going in the red to honor that commitment?
No, I do think what is still coming down the pike is, according to Mr. Prentice, is he thinks that the version he gave us is a little conservative. So I forget what he said, but I think the revenues are coming in a little bit higher than he had estimated. So that means the amount of money we get per kid projected can go up. Our enrollment stays strong. And then we find out for Christmas or New Year's Day, essentially, if it's going to be a good year or a bad year, right? It's kind of how that works for us. If we get through the middle of the year and we've applied for CT funds, and maybe we get $200,000 from GCSD to help fund vocational students that we lost. If the number is higher, like he said it's going to be, then that could drive it up easily by 6 figures or something. The numbers change, they can change dramatically. So I do think if we're good stewards about what happens, we finally catch a break, we could potentially honor those and still come out this fiscal year and, maybe being positive.
So,
that for us to actually spend the whole 240,000, every coach would have to win state. So it's not like we're just writing a check. Those were all tiered bonuses. Most of the money was tiered bonuses. Correct?
I think it was basically just an augmentation of salary. It wasn't really necessarily based on performance. So
what I saw,
whether
at least a portion of it was based on performance.
So
Performance.
the tiers are performance-based, but if
Right.
you're in that top tier, then you would get that full amount whether you won one game or one state. You might drop down into tier 2 the next year because your team didn't maintain that tier 1 level during the season. But it's not a separate like college coaches get a bonus for winning bowl games or winning championships.
the 240,000 would be a set amount.
I don't think so, guys. That's not how it's set up currently.
Can we look at it?
I
don't think we really understand it.
I mean, currently, when they get to like for football, for instance, for each level of the playoffs they go to, it might not be each, it might be every other. I don't remember how it's set up, but it's an earned bonus. Now I know some of it was not.
Yeah, only Jeremy can answer this. Jeremy or Spivey worked on it. Whether the salaries went up by 272 and the playoff pay was already put in as a maximum. That's the question. Is the playoff pay stay the same? And we assume the maximum for the budget, and then the salaries go up 272. Or is it what you're saying? Is it based on the playoff pay being maximized and salaries going up?
I feel like a portion of it was a salary going up, and then a portion of it was additional earned bonuses, like it has been set up in past years. Like if you don't make the playoffs, you don't earn that portion of your possible coaching stipend.
But my understanding was that this year, that number was pretty much set based on the previous year's performance. So like
So this year we would pay out whatever.
The
everybody
240,
earned.
yeah.
So like she's got him on the phone. Like we're playing the rep pretty quickly. Great.
He doesn't get summer time.
Hey, Coach Allen, how are you? Good. So we're contemplating, as part of the FY27 budget, we're contemplating the motion that was previously passed to honor the coaching stipends. What it would do to take that off the floor, somebody would have to make a motion. We'd have to basically reverse that. So not saying that's going to happen, but we are in the middle of discussion. So can you provide some clarity in terms of FY27, 26, 27 costs? Is it a fixed amount that we basically be looking at for like 240, whatever the amount was? Or is it on a sliding scale based on performance where we don't really know what that number will be for 26, 27? Can you provide some insight into that, please?
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up now. I thought on there I'd put what it would be next year.
Right.
And that was based off of what we would pay each coach,
That's the
based off
272.
of the criteria we had.
Okay, so you're saying basically that 272, which the amount the Principal Thorne is saying, that would be a set amount for 26, 27, and then for 27, 28, that amount would be adjusted per performance criteria, potentially.
Yeah, I think the one that I have there that says for this year was already adjusted for performance.
Okay.
Coach, this is Nick. I'm looking at a spreadsheet from our April board meeting, athletic pay scale and playoff bonuses. You've got tabs at the bottom that say proposed coaches stipends, total pay, current pay, possible breakdown pay, another possible breakdown, and third possible breakdown. Is this the proposed sheet? Do you remember? Or is this the approved?
The third possible breakdown was what was approved.
All right. So this has got 3 different tiers: competitor benchmark, T1 versus benchmark. And it shows, the tiered coaching pay scale, divided up between a bunch of head coach and assistant coach positions. I'm trying to see where in this sheet if this is the right sheet, where would it explain the liability, the total cost of budget for this coming year?
If you look at the current pay and click the one at the bottom that says current pay.
Yep.
And that will tell you that the 26, 27 possible based on third breakdown, that's what would get paid out for next year.
But is this a total, or is this express the increase?
The bottom down there tells you the total. The increase is 106,400.
Okay.
So we wouldn't even be saving.
So the
240.
previous year, if I'm looking at this right, the 25, 26, this is just bonuses though. This isn't total.
Would be their salary.
Don't know
Yeah,
that
that's
their
their-
original
yeah.
salary wasn't in.
So the 414 is what we paid this year to coaches. The 520 under the new third possible breakdown tier, that's what we would pay out for that. So it's a difference of $106,400 for next year if we go with the increase.
So the line item of total, this chart looks like it just discusses bonuses. So I guess my question either to you, Jeremy, or to Mr. Thorne is, how does that reflect in the budget we're looking to, or that we've previously approved?
So
If I
I
may
guess the question is
interject,
how to understand.
if I may interject there.
So the bonus, you need to say bonus.
Just a minute, Jeremy. Go ahead, Hannah.
So we have still budgeted $476,000 in athletic pay between the two ways that you pay. So one is through payroll, through net checks. The other one is through bill.com for non-employees. So it's not that we're not budgeting. We're just not budgeting an increase of $272,000. I'm not sure how helpful that is to this conversation, but I did just want to clarify. We are budgeting for these athletic supplemental pay and stipends. It's just not $272,000 more.
And Mr. Thorne, if you can pull that spreadsheet up that you had that showed the 272, trying to understand the difference between
Yeah, me too.
Mr. Schumacher pointed
Yeah,
out the 106 increase, and then here we're looking at basically 272, just trying to understand the difference between those two numbers.
Is the,
Right there, yeah.
I don't understand where the 272 came from. Where does that come from?
Total athletic pay is 933. They're subtracting a previous total of 661. That leaves a difference of 272 on this particular spreadsheet. Playoff pay would be on this spreadsheet 132. So what we're looking at here is not what y'all are looking at there. It must have been there must have at some point been some changes made.
That's kind of where
So,
I'm
but the
at.
playoff, Jeremy, the playoff portion of it is earned bonuses depending on how far they make it into the playoffs. Is that not correct?
Right, that's not even on the spreadsheet whatsoever.
So it is on the one that Principal Thorne has pulled up. So
Yeah.
we're looking at something different than you guys are looking at.
Looks like the 132 and the 132.
How are any of the numbers you have in front of you right now, Mr. Thorne, are those reflected in the current 2027 budget?
No.
This one here was removed from the total that Hannah just described.
Yes.
So the spreadsheet says playoff bonuses, but you can take that out. We don't, because you guys took, you guys decided you wanted to keep paying them what you're paying. Yeah.
Holding enough.
We already approved it.
Yeah, so
in
that
April.
should be in the 27 budget. The only way we pull that out is if basically someone passes a motion and to undo the previous motion. So Hannah, this was passed.
Voted to put that in the 27 budget. I
So
agree with
Hannah,
that.
can you put that in real time on your spreadsheet, since it was basically a previous motion that passed, and then we can look at basically what that does to the bottom line number?
Sure. Give me just
27?
1 second.
Sure, thank you.
I still don't understand.
You're gonna have to be here to explain this to me.
There's $106,000 increase in bonus payouts based on what Jeremy's.
So what we need to stop saying is bonus payouts. There's no bonus.
Okay.
What we're discussing is what we want to pay the coaches for their stipends for next year. The bonuses, I'll have no way of telling you how much bonuses are going to be. That is going to be a wild card number, because last year we decided we didn't want to go to a different playoff pay scale. We wanted to keep it the same way it was. So with that being said, when we pay that out, we have no idea, because we don't know how far teams are going to go. So we have no way to budget how much money that's going to be.
So Hannah, in our budget, this budget, as she described it, is the bill.com payment would be classified as the playoff pay. The payroll pay would be the stipend. You follow, Hannah?
It depends on if they're an employee of the school or not.
Right.
So not necessarily.
But I think in the budget, there's a projection of possible playoff pay as an expense was it based on current trends this past year?
Yes,
What
sir.
they got paid?
Yes, sir.
So that means whatever they made this year in playoff pay has been incorporated into what the number she just said.
So Jeremy answered our question though. The $106,000 is a flat fee. We would absolutely be paying all of it, which was the question that I was asking was all of the money, is it obtainable by the coaches? So the 106,000 would definitely be obtainable. The playoff bonuses are a whole different line item.
So the key now is are the stipends going up by 272 or just going up by 106?
Yeah, that's where I'm confused. I don't know where the 272 comes from.
6,400.
Okay, so we would have put in 106,400, Hannah, $106,400, not 272. He needs to be part of the budget process. He was there. I can't find out.
Yeah.
I was in Columbia for some of these meetings.
So you are now
We over the-
looking at a bottom line of $67,000 in the red.
Okay. Are we looking at this accurately? I'm confused at $106,000 increase versus a $272,000 increase.
I think we're looking at two different spreadsheets based on, like, obviously that was changed at some point to reflect what you're looking at.
But there was enough trust in that other sheet to make a budget decision based off of it.
That's what passed, was the 272. That was the motion.
So how do you have what you're looking at right now?
I'm looking at a sheet that I thought was the genesis of, or that is a number of, this is Jeremy's master pay plan that he presented, which is what I thought we approved.
What's the date on it?
It's from our our April meeting dated.
What's
when was
the date
April
on your
meeting?
spreadsheet?
April
It's
20th.
just information we got from Jeremy.
Oh, you just had it stored.
We've just been working on the other stuff, the technology reductions, absorbing of staff. The 272 is on that tab, and we're like, that's the increase in stipends, and we're $400,000 to the negative. That's gotta go.
All right, so let's do this.
But
So
it's only 106. A lot better.
can we do an action? So basically, the motion has already passed for the 272.
Well-
So that's what passed back in April.
You guys voted to increase based on what he presented,
Yes,
so it doesn't mean it was 272.
it was in the 200s. I remember. I thought it was like 240. So I do not remember it being 106. I was thinking it was around 240. So it was in that $200,000. So
I would like to understand clearly the logic to know what is the accurate number. To me, I'm still confused of whether it's this 106 or whether it's this 270. What is the real amount to be considered as a result of our approval of the new coach's pay structure? What's that real number? And so I don't know, Jeremy, I don't know if that's,
Can you pull
Jeremy,
that
I don't know if you and
can you pull up that 270?
you and Mr. Thorne need to get together to get to that, or if that's something you can look at when you're prepared to, we're not ambushing you with a phone call.
But I think I may have figured it out.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm just trying to do some math here. 623. So I think what happened is when we did the initial one, we looked at that third possible breakdown, and when you put every coach in that tier one, I think that's where you get the $200,000 increase.
Is that you in this sheet? Yeah. So you've just made that $623,000 number.
Correct, and that would be if everyone got paid tier one. So if you put that up to the 414, then you're going to be getting close to that 200-something thousand.
Is that the most accurate way to look at what it's really going to cost us? That everybody's in tier one.
Well, that for next year, that's why I went ahead and made that extra column there that has the 520,900, which to show what the pay would be based off of all those tiers and what coaches have done. So I think I was asked to go back and put together what our coaches would get paid this year. But that 623 is the max we could possibly ever have to pay.
Okay,
But the 520,900 was me and Coach Spivey sitting down and going ahead and looking at each coach and what tier they would fit under, and that would be the pay for next year with the coaches that we currently have.
I think we approved the athletic salary schedule. You know, it wasn't a dollar amount. It was because it's a fluid scale based on performance. So we want to adopt what he's projecting.
That's correct. We approved the scale
Yeah.
and bonus
So Jeremy's
structure.
projecting 520 versus 6, whatever he said. Then we can adjust the budget based on the projection. Then
Right.
that's fine. You guys can see real numbers.
Yeah.
Hannah is putting in what we should do, the worst case scenario. Everyone gets paid the very tippy top, which is what we do
Right.
for most categories. Is what's the highest possible expense.
So bottom line, we basically go in the red either way.
couple hundred, we're in a red couple $100,000, worst case scenario.
Worst case, yeah,
Well,
worst case.
better than 272 of that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
closer to half that.
So
So
we, Hannah, what did we have? What was our surplus a minute ago? Like 40 grand?
39.
40, yeah, 40,000 roughly, yes, sir.
So am I accurate? The worst case scenario, we're 230 grand or so in the red.
Yes, sir.
So that's what we got to vote on.
But we-
That's what we got
Well,
to think about.
We've
Right?
already
it's actually, so here's the thing, we have to, before we would approve the FY27 budget, the question to the board is, if anyone wished to rescind the previous past motion to honor that, but those coaching stipulations that will basically put us in the red, so $1,000 number in the black to basically a potential roundabout 230,000 number in the red. Anyone wish to put forth?
Just to be clear, it was not 230 in the red for this year because they've already, Spivey and Holland have already tiered out the coaches.
Yeah, they've already done it for this thing. It's based on what they did during this year. So that part they've already figured out. So we can.
Right next year, 6,400.
So that's what you guys approved back in April. So Hannah should put in 106,400.
The 27, so everybody's in agreement, the 2027 budget impact to keep, if we maintain what we approved previously, is an additional 106,000 in expenses.
400.
That's correct.
Puts us in the red 60 something grand.
Right, but then 200.
And when does that money start going out the door?
It's always fluid. Because our enrollment goes a little bit up and down. They adjust the 45-day count. And I mentioned Prentice said the revenue numbers gonna be a little bit higher. So not per kid, which we won't even get until January. So the first semester we're gonna be running a deficit because of the money we lost. And then we'll get fixed midway through the year, and we'll run a profit the rest of the year. But we have the fund balance for that.
If we are awarded some of what they took from the vocational kids, do you have any idea when we would get that? Would it not be till January or? it could
With
be-
our fund balance, as long as we get it, we're good. And I mean, don't give it to us in June.
Yeah.
If we need it to run building construction and culinary, give it to us based on however you give it the money to the other cast centers. And so if we can go through and apply for hopefully 100,000, maybe it's 200,000, maybe it's more. We deserve some funds. We have a cast center, kids that take a lot of classes that cost more to educate. So we should get money for sure because it's valid. We have a valid request.
Okay, so on the topic of the coaching stipends that again were previously approved at the April meeting, does anyone wish to put forward a motion to basically rescind that motion to basically keep us in the black?
Clarification before we get to that. So maybe I misheard, but the health science position that we voted to approve, did I hear that that's now off the
Correct.
table? So we don't have to vote to rescind that?
Yep, we'll look at case by case. So right now we're on the coaching stipend, and then we'll look at those.
But what I'm saying
Yeah.
is, the 60-some thousand that we're now in the red, if that position is off the table, that doesn't make up.
No,
We were- we were-
that was with them taking it away.
That was what?
Yeah,
We're
we
talking
went
about
from a 700,000, 670,000, $100,000 profit.
Right.
I mean, we lost 1.88 from what Prentice sent us. We went from that down to close to $1.2 million deficit. So the first thing we did was like, okay, what positions are vacant that we don't have to fill? We don't want to affect the human capital. We're in a position where it's May, we've hired people, we've retained people, getting a new job is off the table. So the goal was just to minimize the damage, control time.
But to your point, we still need to address that because it was a motion that passed to approve that position. So now so we'll focus on the coaching, and that's what we'll move next as far as, so with the coaching stipend, does anyone wish to basically rescind that motion that was passed in April? Okay, with that, we will not rescind that motion. Now we'll look at basically the positions that the health science, and I don't remember what other positions were. Was it just the one position?
Usually we can present a budget with you guys and explain what you're approving within the budget. Because if the numbers work out well and we recover for next year,
Right.
I would like to hire the health science position.
I'm just talking from I just want everybody to leave here feeling that they were made a fiscally responsible decision.
Yeah.
So basically, this is the opportunity to undo motions that basically were previously passed. So
We also, guys approved the tech budget. The teacher computers were at 308. Chris knocked it down to just $100,000. So we knocked off $208,000 in computers. We didn't do a lab for $50,000. We just did what we had to do because what was thrust upon us.
but I think when Hannah ran the numbers, she just took in for her $400,000 cuts were the coaching stipends and then
So we met every week and went through all those cuts. I met with Chris.
so that number 400,000 entails all of those cuts you talk about.
Yeah, because we were over $1 million in the hole.
Okay,
So
then we need to look at those line item by line item to see basically if anyone wishes to rescind the motion that passed those.
I would suggest that we
We can bulk it as a whole.
could also approve the budget as presented based off of the efforts of Principal Thorne and our accountants and various staff members to scrub.
But as presented, the coaching stipends were deducted. So we're adding the coaching stipends back in because nobody says they wish to undo those.
Yeah, and she's still there, so it should be,
Yep.
bottom line should be, Hannah, did you add in the 106,400?
Yes, your new bottom line is $67,000 in the red.
Correct. Yeah. But the way this has been scrubbed now, personally, I think is a good way to go about it, and prioritizing the existing employees and their needs.
Right.
Not having to go about cutting anyone's existing promise. If we keep this coaching stipend in, then we're keeping all of our promises to people that are already here.
So if we approve the budget the way it is now and we end up getting more vocational money, we won't need to go back and reapprove the position for the health science
I would like,
because we've already approved it.
Okay, yeah, tonight's the opportunity to rescind those, to try to rectify before we pass the 27 budget. So once we pass the 27 budget, all of those previous approvals should be in there. So like Hannah, the health science position that was approved, it needs to be in there until somebody pulls it out.
we've not done that in the past.
I know, but Robert's Rules of Order will tell you, I've looked at, if any motion that was basically passed, it has to be undone, basically past the next year's budget. So those were financial decisions that were made. They impacted 27 that the board approved and approved on. So we just can't go arbitrarily go through and cut and undo motions without basically the board reevaluating and revoting. So
if I make a motion to approve the 2027 budget as presented today with the modifications to add the coaching pay changes that were previously approved.
Yep.
And that's it. Covers all of those concerns, right?
well, then the health, Hannah's 400,000, she has calculated to pull out, included one of those health science positions. So
I understand.
yeah,
But if I,
So to answer your
I think your
question-
motion would have to include that,
All
locally,
all
locally, you're
proposed
gonna,
changes.
the motion would be to modify previously approved items in compliance with what is now presented.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe my vocabulary's off a little bit, but I'm trying to cut to the chase.
Yeah.
Basically.
and that's fine to lump it in. It's just that we pulled out the coaching stipend out of that 400,000. Does anybody like the health science position that was wrapped up in there? Does anyone wish to undo that, where we basically don't hire that position?
We'd also previously approved the $25,000 increase for band.
It's still in,
That's still in there.
What is deleted? Let me just,
I can,
let's quantify all that. We
did-
the reduction of the IT computers.
key position was absorbed.
What does absorb mean?
I mean, the person resigned, we didn't kill it.
Okay.
I think that may have already been in the previous budget with us. For sure, I know that we did that. We absorbed a class level position. Person retired, we didn't rehire. We posted for a new position, health science, sports medicine. We chose not to fill it, to pursue it because we were in a deficit. It means we want to hire people just to riff them. We reduced the tech budget. I would just keep it generic. The tech budget was approved, not based on any one lab. It was based on teacher computers. It was a lab was taken off the table, and we did a phase-in approach to the teacher computers versus doing all at 1 year. We're just going to phase it in. So the tech budget was reduced by, how to quantify it. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously 200,000 for the computers. The lab itself was $50,000. There was some other ones in there for at least 25,000 that were reduced. There's about 3 things total. And then
What was that tech budget? Just ballpark?
it's,
And does anything else come to mind of substance on your end? Just
No, sir, I believe it's all been covered. Think there was a question about the total tech budget. Did I hear that right?
yeah, we have it right here, Hannah, actually. I'm showing him we have a tab for it.
Yes, sir.
We on line at 16, we cut a lab that saved us $75,000 removed from FY27. We reduced this one here from 12,000 down to 5,000. That was for printers.
okay. What was the classified position that was absorbed?
We find the teacher computers. Well, that's the big one. Where is it at?
Staff computers is on line 29, Mr. Thorne. So that was reduced down from $325,000.
There you go. Right there it is. Sorry. Hard to look sideways. It's small font. I can't even read that.
What was the classified position that was absorbed?
Teacher assistant.
And that's fine, because when we passed the budget for the position, it didn't work out to fill it, so it's fact, it's absorbed. That doesn't have to be undone. That's something you guys make from a hiring, firing perspective. So
I don't want to step on anybody's toes. Does anybody have any discussion or debate on any of the other, any approving or rescinding or not any of these 4 things?
The last thing we did was athletic stipend. We did everything first. Is there anything else, Hannah, you can think of?
No, sir.
They did.
Cover this other one.
We reduced some assumptions that we thought were over estimates, too conservative. They went through and vetted all of the salary benefits and all the other things and just got that more and more accurate, which helped reduce cost. So just working on the salary schedule and looking at whatever increases are for healthcare are and retirement, they went through and just shored it up for the next fiscal year and that helps save money.
And a lot of that, the
Someone
staffing
wishes to make
schedule updates, making those accurate, a lot of that was done before even the first board reading of the budget. So
So,
What is the name for the coaches,
what is called the coaching stipend?
athletic
Yeah.
stipends?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I
Pay
think
schedule.
the motion, there would be two motions on the floor, potential. One motion would be basically accepting the FY 27 budget as presented tonight, which would include the Xing out of the coaching stipend and everything else that was previously passed. You could have a motion to basically excluding the coaching stipends, accept the FY 27 budget as presented tonight. Or third option is you could go through line by line and basically we could look at the tech budget and everything and address those. So
I'm gonna take a shot at
with
it.
that, okay, so with that, Mr. Schumacher would like to present a motion.
Feel free to chime in, edit it, but I would like to make a motion to approve the fiscal year 27 budget as presented in this meeting, including the add back of the previously approved athletic pay structure, the deduction from the absorption of the PE position, the reduction of the absorption of the TA classified position, the reduction of the previously approved new health science position, the reductions as detailed in the budget for IT and technical hardware, and all other miscellaneous deducts as presented this evening.
With that, so Mr. Schumacher with that motion, Ms. Woodall with the second. So before we vote, is there any,
Mr. Wright, is that clear?
are there any discussion that anyone wishes to, or questions anyone has regarding the motion on the floor?
What I think I'm saying is that we approve this budget as presented, adding back coaches stipend that, because they're already here.
I get it. But I just want to make sure that we're not sacrificing education to the students by pulling back the health science position. Like our kids not going to be able to get classes that we feel like there is a need for. Is that not when it was?
Yes, and this is the second time this has happened. Happened in 2024, January, we lost. They changed the funding formula then on us. It was 1 year delayed and we got hit by it. And we had asked for that position that year and we had to absorb it. And then basically the same thing just repeated itself this later in the spring this year. And at this point, the course requests are in and we've made a master schedule. Not getting anyone, it's already June 23rd. So it's the ship has sailed for finding a person for that position for this year. I think it comes down to, once again, we have to find our new normal. They take the money from us. We have to find out how the dust settles, how CCSD budget. It's been kind of accelerated because of all these salary increases. And again, we're paid in the year behind. So what you saw in the news and what you saw in the calculator, that's not based on this year. It's based on last year and the year before. So it's going to keep on climbing for this year. It's going to climb. It's going to climb again next year. And then at some point, when they ever get back to doing a COLA versus adding 2,500 to teachers and such, then it will eventually get down to about 4% increase. But right now, it's been increasing by between 6 and 8% on a budget that's, with $11,000 per kid, it's $26 million. That's a very large increase. So it's about that new normal that we get to and say, okay, all right, this is where we're at until someone else again tries to mess with us. My goal now is just almost live in Columbia, I guess.
If it's a 6% increase, that's something a little over $1 million net in total budget next year. Well, that's quickly right. About $1,000,006.
So, but to answer her question, what you're saying is, even if we kept that position, you don't think you could fill it for this year just because you haven't been able to fill it yet?
Well, we get a line on a good person.
Okay.
But what you don't want to do is have someone quit their job, come here, and then the next year you have to RIF people, and then you have to like them another job, or start, whoever's last in, first out, or retirees go out. Then I've been down that road. We're going to avoid that. We have the fund balance to do that. We got to a magical place where we're somewhere near zero. $60,000 on a $26+ million budget is nothing. It could be gone. It could be positive tomorrow. You guys have put here long to do that, so we can circle the wagons and be okay.
If we get $39 more per kid, our budget's flat. And the numbers show up.
I get my last question.
No, for sure.
So
Take as much time as you need.
Yeah.
are the coaches aware that we've already approved this?
Mm,
They already.
You know that, Jeremy?
I believe.
Coach Alt, are the coaches aware of the motion that passed in April?
It's only a few that know for a fact what went on, so no, not everybody knows.
No, but not with that.
That's my, and Ms. Bickle, I agree. It's pretty tough for me to prioritize athletics over
Right.
a class, over education, why we're here, right? But my justification for it personally is that this is the difference between taking care of people that are already here, that we know and love, that we want to keep here, that we want to keep having assistants, people that aren't here. I feel like, for me personally, I'd rather disappoint someone that's not here yet than someone that has been here, has helped inspire this entire idea of maybe earning additional column. I think it's a tough call, but that's what decides it for me personally.
Any other questions? Does anyone else have any other questions, concerns, if they wish to that? All right, nothing heard. All right, so we have a motion on the floor, Mr. Schumacher's motion. I'm not going to read it back. I'm going to ask for basically to approve the motion on the floor from Mr. Schumacher. Please signify with an aye. Aye. Those opposed with a nay. All right, the ayes have it.
Thanks for all the work
Yeah.
on this.
Thank you.
It's just been a juggling match.
Thank you for your
Thank you, Hannah.
your work and support.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you guys so much.
See you, Hannah.
Thank you. All right, next agenda item, the Charter High School 26-27 academic calendar for approval.
Yes, a lot more easy things coming up here. We're just adding 3 late-in days to the current calendar. It's the CCSD calendar. We're supposed to follow that because we're in charter school, of course. All schools in CCSD do follow it. So we're just doing 3 late-ins. We did 3 or 4 this past year. They're on these dates and we use for PLC time.
Okay, does anyone wish to make a motion either way regarding these 3 proposed dates?
So moved.
So Ms. Woodall with the motion to approve. And do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Price with the second. All those in favor of the motion on the floor to accept the 3 late-in dates as presented tonight, please signify with an aye. Aye. Those opposed with a nay. The ayes have it. All right, board subcommittee reports. Mr. Price, up first with finance.
Well, we detailed tonight the bulk of the finance committee, and I do apologize. I was on Zoom and could hear everything, but I was a significant delay, so I didn't comment as much as I probably would have liked. But I don't think there's anything that we discussed in finance that hasn't been discussed tonight.
All right, thank you. Mr. Schumacher, capital project.
Do we need to talk about the stadium project any further
No,
for now?
my thought is that basically who we reconvene with, what's, I guess, the plan moving forward is who do we work with to put together a phased timeline approach, considering the 4.3 million, and we do it,
All we can do right now is work through the $4.31 million that's approved money as part of the bond referendum.
Yep.
What we have to do next is mobilize you, teachers in this community between now and before they put the next bond referendum on the ballot in November to get roughly $10+ million of a renovation to our stadium added to it. If this be a phased approach. And we're in this predicament because it wasn't planned out properly. We got told it multiple times. They own this property. It's their job to actually do that. Us trying to swoop in and save the day until we got, punched in the gut would have helped our kids and our community enjoy it sooner.
I want to make sure I'm understanding what you're saying. So for the delta, as far as the 4.3 mil on anything on top of that, you're not asking for the community to rally in terms of contacting legislators, raising monies or anything. The ask is for us as a board, community, to lean on CCSD to basically honor their commitment to basically a facility that they own that's basically been neglected for the last number of years.
We need to advocate for it to be on the bond referendum so that phase 2 can be voted on by the public. Yeah.
So are we going to go back to CCSD with the bond referendum amount that we're asking for then? So it would be the delta, I guess, to 6 mil or whatever approximately?
But it's actually 4.3 is from this bond referendum.
Yep.
We're each shipping in 4.8. So you got the 14. I was on the phone with Dr. Temple before this meeting. And I'm like, yeah, we need another phase 2 that's $10 million because again, all these stadiums have things below their grandstand. They never accounted for that.
What kind of feedback do you get from her as far as her? If anybody's going to advocate,
they already have
she's not going to advocate for us. Nobody else on that board's going to.
She said they got phase 6.1 on there, and she didn't remember seeing it. So, and I'm like, well, did this just happen? I mean, why would it be in there necessarily if $14 million was going to be agreed upon yesterday? This just happened. We lost $4 million. We're trying to basically help them do a project that they should be doing. So, yeah, this is a very dynamic thing. I get why you wouldn't put it on the phase 6 if you just approved an additional $4.8 million to get it done. But now this is falling through. I told her the only thing left to do on this campus that is of material size and nature is the stadium. Classroom for PAC. They've already reworked the piano rooms that can be used for something else when necessary. It really comes down to that stadium is the last big thing for this campus. And so we should just be a grassroots effort to get a phase 2 done through the bond referendum. And if not, then do it through your own funds.
But I want to make sure what the ask is, as basically as a community and as a board, to go directly to Dr. Temple and basically to apply some pressure to her, or you're talking CCSD as a whole, or you're talking the financial folks as far as Prentice exactly, or is it a letter writing campaign? Or
What I would suggest is that we have a conversation possibly outside of this meeting about the proper way to promote our interests in the next vote. I'm not sure what that means yet. But I think we can come to a decision on what's best for us, whether as a board or something to ask our parents and students to contribute to, or staff, faculty, or whatever.
okay,
So
so
has there been discussion from CCSD about what the jeopardy to us may be if they say this 4.3 is what you get and ultimately it's our facility? So we're just going to come in and do X, Y, and Z. Have they had that discussion or what that would be? Because I know initially they said that our concessions and our restrooms weren't up to snuff.
In terms of the capacity,
And there were some structural issues that they were going to need to be addressed. Is that, have they said, here's all you're going to get 4.3 and here's what we're going to do. You don't get any more input, time's up?
no, they asked for input. We met on the Thursday after the Tuesday email went out with Shaw, and we kind of both agreed doing a smaller field house. Do whatever we can to get some of the stuff out from underneath the bleachers. Yeah. And the big thing is wrestling. The big one is get that out, and that's a pretty basic space. It's a locker room and a big open room, right? And like hopefully maybe try at least ask the architects to incorporate concessions and restrooms and that program, then leave space for future building. The sooner we get up underneath that stadium, the better it is for us for sure.
So can we do this moving forward? Can we basically, as Mr. Schumacher, as the head of the Capital Project Subcommittee, basically if you can loop him into those discussions, if you guys can meet with Ms. Shaw, Prentice, Dr. Temple, and then come back at the next meeting with basically exactly what is that you want us to do and how we can do it to help between now and November.
We can do that. What I would say, just to add real quick, I think the gist of it is to try to go, number one, make sure this $4 million and change is good money after good intentions. It's not patches, it's not Band-Aids, it's not something to be redone when the rest of the funds exist to improve the entire stadium. My gut is that allows us to build some or all of the field house structure that we looked at. Maybe some of it's left remaining as shell space, maybe it's a one-story building now that has capacity to be added onto vertically, and the structural design allows for that. Maybe the second floor is just an open air canopy that can be used for some things here and there. And then later the money comes in to let it, build it out. There's a number of ways to do that. And you got to kind of, in my experience, you have to back into that budgetarily by price checking things with builders and whatnot along the way. So I think the goal is to make the best use of those funds towards something that we'll be happy we have 50 years from now. So it's just doing a chunk of the big project. That's pretty reasonably achievable in the private world. I'd hope we can do that in this world.
CCSD was going to put not just the bond 4 million, but another 4 million.
4.8.
We're not going to get any of that now.
We're not matching it. Yeah.
We're not matching it because we don't actually have it. They must have it if they were going to cough it up. I think we should ask for it.
So Mr. Schumacher and Principal Thorne will basically still get with them, and then they'll report back to us what it is that what's within the realm of possibility and what do we need to do and to advocate for. So, yep. All right. Moving on, subcommittee reports, principal evaluation and support. I have no report there. Community engagement, Ms. Myers, Ms. Manigault, anything to report there?
Coach Hallman and Shelby.
Oh, so the Coach Gets Memorial Golf Scholarship. So, yeah, so that event is a green light on August 20th. It's on a Thursday. It's going to be hot as Hades, but that's the only date that Marshall at the uni can give us because of October being just, a big popular month for Charleston golf. So, to Ms. Manigault's part, we met June 2nd. We're lining up sponsors, raffle items, foursomes. So you'll look at, there's a social media page on Instagram and Facebook.
It looks really good.
Yeah. Summer Conrad is leading those social media efforts, and she's doing a phenomenal job. So
What is it under?
Coach Gifts Memorial, Coach Gifts Scholarship. I can't remember exactly, but you can pull it off my page.
Okay.
We're friends. You can pull it off there. But she's doing a kind of a PR campaign. So she's doing all kind of posts, old pictures, save the dates and so forth. So it's not green light yet to basically register. It'll be 36 foursomes. So that'll be coming up probably in the next couple of weeks. So basically it'll be green light to register for a foursome. So it's very affordable sponsorship in the golf. And we made it that way at the request of the family to be inclusive and not exclusive. So the goal is not to bleed anyone dry. The goal is basically to build a nice little foundation that we can basically start giving money back to kids and to the school via that. So
As it gets closer, if there's any like volunteer stuff we can do the day of, please keep me for sure posted on what I can do to help.
I
yeah,
do think
Shelby, Shelby Gist?
Yeah.
Go straight to Shelby. She's organizing all that.
I do think the stadium project now, capital projects and community relations now merges a little bit with common goals of grassroots effort. I mean like emails, Facebook, all that kind of stuff to like say, please get JICHS on the ballot and get a phase 2 to the stadium and site Wando Stadium, site D4 Stadium. Look at West Ashley Stadium is, even though it's not new, it's still complete.
Do you have anything in terms of the brick campaign?
So I keep communicating with that guy, but I mean, we're sort of on hold there, but I have not much, now I'm focusing my efforts on, the silent auction and the stuff with Shelby we met, and so.
Okay.
I think.
I don't know if it has much of a place once CCD takes control. No
Yeah,
funds come
I
to
mean,
us. As we talk through, Nick and I go through this, and Mr. Price, if there's a place to still fundraise and get, whether it's $100,000 more so that we can do, better furniture or whatever it is for the project, or stuff at the concession stand, that's where that can probably help. But
It
structurally,
seems like that's on a bit of a hold right now, correct? Or, I mean, I still have a breaking.
We're still moving forward with the funds, 4.3 mil we're getting.
Okay.
So it's just the rest of it.
But like selling bricks, and I mean,
I'd
guys-
focus on the phase 2.
yeah,
That's what matters.
we're not there right now.
We might could get there, but that's, we gotta make sure we buy a roof first. So,
Could rename the field the Roddy Price field and take it care of one check.
we had coaches up in Tony's office last week.
All right, so that, any questions regarding subcommittee reports? All right, nothing heard. Moving on. Mr. Thorne, maintenance report.
Properly, it's right here. So they installed the final 3 HVAC units to complete the running. Okay, that's the ones that are being done by CCSD. All the ones in the classroom units. And then see, final phase of the 3-year roofing project is ongoing. If you came to the school just now, you saw that. Be completed by the summer break. Heat recovery wheel and the annex air unit above the PAC was replaced. That was a pretty expensive item. And then they completed 98% of the work orders submitted by the teachers in summer, and 89 since the last board meeting work orders.
All right, any questions regarding the or comments on the maintenance report? Nothing heard. All right, moving on. JICHS 26-27 board and finance meeting dates.
Yeah. I think these basically match up to the third Monday. And then we did the Tuesday in January because Mr. Hayes was looking on the board still. I think February worked out because the day we get off is like a week before. So there's no hiccup there. And we just kept June 21st. I'm not sure. It was the 4th. I think. Let's check. I think I just decided to do the third Monday because we're so poor we probably can't go to SCAS.
Yeah. All right.
And then finance is in the same, we're all on the same Tuesday.
Would anyone wish to make a motion to accept the proposed 26-27 board and finance meeting dates? Mr. Price with the motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Woodall with the second. All those in favor of the presented 26-27 board and finance meeting dates, please signify with an aye. Aye. Those opposed with an nay. The ayes have it. Last but not least, Mr. Thorne, back to you for the score leader report.
I made this up for you all to see a timeline of how all this stuff went down at the stadium. We went through a lot of it already tonight. It's back in 2024, we had a substantial loss in revenue. And then vocational funding this year, this gives you the real numbers. The other thing I created that I could have showed you really illustrates. That gives you the history. Yes, people are new. Some people have been here. They know some of the story behind it. This spreadsheet just shows how simple the math became for us once they removed the funding. So we were here without the voc funding. You take off the science classroom. That's the last. That's a big chunk still to pay on that still, which will hit pretty soon. That goes down to 6.7, 4.8. We only have 2 fiscal years to try and recover. That takes us down to 1.97 fund balance, a daily burn of 74,000. Our days of cash on hand would be like 27.
What's that metric target?
Which one?
For the days cash on hand.
60.
60.
Our payroll each month is like $2.1 million. So 1.97 is just not something that we were a small school, had like 200 kids, that might be a good thing, but we're not a huge school. Without that, 7.6, if we had the funding this year and next year, as it was presented by Prentice, we could have written a check, or at least half the check, and we'd be done with a fund balance almost the same that it is right now. So, in a nutshell, you want to see it more, plain as day, I guess.
I have a question.
This just goes through, what you read on your own, but the spreadsheet also comes to the same conclusion.
Mr. Schumacher?
I'm just reading about this, the way the CTE programs are looking to be funded moving forward. It basically looks like there's specific state appropriations for programs and equipment. So anything towards CTE in excess of the cost of a regular student, you're making some kind of application to somebody
Our
about
application goes to CCS.
to CCSD. So CCSD still got the money. They're just not giving it out as freely.
I got the number.
Do we know that?
I got the number from somebody else in the district that they got potentially $4.4 million towards vocational students from the State Department to use across the entire district. That number by itself is a little bit alarming on its face because we were supposed to get 1.88, and if we're just 1,600 and they have 50,000 students, 4.4 sounds like we'll get a fraction of that if that was the case. And then I was told by Prentice, I was doing the MOA discussion with him last week, that they have $900,000 allocated towards CAS centers, which means it's not even the 4.4, it's the 900. So again, we will follow. We've never done it, so we can't even begin to project what it's going to be. We get funding like Kate funding and Perkins funding already, that's already built into our budget. Dana Miley writes and works on and gets money from the district, all whether it's for engineering stuff or et cetera. So that part, equipment wise, has been going on. This is a different thing altogether. And so we're just gonna have to just navigate it. Am I confident that we're going to give out our requested Prentice and it's going to come back with a positive response? I see there'll be some money, but I'm sure there'll be as little as possible.
So I appreciate that. The prior weighting basically assumed that a CTE student costs the school 20% more to accommodate, more or less. Is that accurate based on what we've spent? Do we know what a CTE student costs us compared to a non-CTE? Previously weighted at a 1.0.
I think it's pretty easy to say that building construction management easily exceeds that because they build sheds and consume large stuff. Culinary easily exceeds that for sure. I think engineering with the licenses they have and the lab they use, they go through, easily exceeds that. I think probably health science and sports medicine similar, have labs and equipment and stuff that they go through that exceeds that. I think the computers that New Nissoff goes through and does. Yeah, it's just they're running tech labs or food labs that cost more. Even when you go into game design, they have to use high-powered Mac computers to do that. You go to an English class and it's just get out your notebook and read some poetry. But you saw the one lab was canceled for $75,000. So they are more expensive classroom setups.
Well, the reason I'm asking is
So yeah, I'd say yes.
we've had our budget impacted by $1.8 million, yet we're doing things to continue to accommodate what may be perceived as more expensive students without changing anything about what happens to them every day they go to school, right? We're not changing the services offered to our students based on this budget restriction.
Yeah.
So we just got to eat it.
Right. And when
I'm wondering if there's any benefit to showing the metric that we're eating this, and can we go chase funds to fill in a gap if it's in excess of the 1.0 cost per student with CCSD. Is that an argument to go get some money in the door? If we're one of the highest, if we do more with CT, if we're on the high end of schools that.
There's no one to go to besides CCSD. All we do is
But do we need to,
a state level.
what I'm asking is there, I'm equating it to like a zoning ask when they're like, what is your hardship? Well, our hardship is that we are still providing these services, even though you cut our money at the sacrifice of other things within our school. Probably won't talk about the fact that we're not going to have a stadium necessarily, but still, like if we're providing services at our expense and we are heavily penalized just because we have a lot of kids that were weighted as such, that is a hardship. That's a hardship that the result of this law is causing us.
And
I
then
think there's,
there was no,
I'm wondering if there's a case.
there was no
made
hold
to go
harmless,
get a check.
there's no hold harmless put into the language. And according to Mary Carmichael, because we're getting more money than we did last year, we wouldn't even qualify for hold harmless. It seems kind of crazy. Our budget went up by, I think you have to have like a budget reduction that could come into play. There's no language for hold harmless. If there was, we wouldn't qualify because we went up slightly from last year. So all we can do is appeal to CCSD and to those who put this proviso in there. If you think that CT funds are being watered down in some way, shape, or form, then do a better job than just 86. Or you realize that I sent our budget documents, those sheets from Prentice, to these lawmakers. I yellow highlighted 28 down to 26. Is this what you intended to do? This is the impact. I said there's 150 kids not getting classes next year because of this.
Did they respond?
Yeah, I mean they're like it's too late now.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
but what
But
I'm
it's-
getting at
it's
is if
a-
the money's still out there somewhere. That
Let's
takes
do
me back
this.
to my question.
So
Where is it
It's
at?
a proviso, it's not codified law. And I kept saying, if you believe in it, maybe we can't get it right now. But if this is the way it's supposed to be, then vote on it. Codify it in the law. Don't put it into a proviso. And that's what I'm going to keep fighting for. Is we should be getting more than trying to beg for pennies on the dollar.
I don't disagree with that, but what I'm saying is I would be curious as to how the state appropriations of this money, according to the law reaction I'm reading, how is it given out? And if it says it's for supported programs and equipment, well, again, if we're taking a financial hit and still providing the programs because we think it's the right thing to do, and that's worth X dollars, is there a way to go apply for those funds? To me, that is a reasonable case to make.
That's a question you all can ask CCSD when you meet with them. Explore the options. I think.
We've been told how it works.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying for your.
I just wonder if we can boil it down to some numbers and go make a case.
Yeah.
If the way to get a hold of these funds is a different path,
If you all, when you
should we
meet
give
with
a shot
them,
at that path?
yeah, if you can come back with options and what we can
I
do to
don't know
help
what
us.
that path is because this was voted on by the state legislature
Well,
and signed
yeah.
by the governor. Right? So the state superintendent doesn't have the jurisdiction to go.
Fair, but if the response is cool, we're not going to cut all these vocational programs that are important to our community and our state, et cetera, because you've cut the funding for it, and you're not giving us an option to recover that funding.
They need to be
No
educated.
problem. Yeah, no problem. You think this news story plays? I mean, hey,
in my
there's an
opinion,
angle here.
in my opinion, of watching this for the last 4 years, if Dr. Temple doesn't do anything to advocate for us, then nobody's going to, and she doesn't. She does not advocate for James Allen Charter High School. She lives here. This is her district, and she does nothing to advocate for us.
I don't have any problems with the board meeting. Like,
I'm saying when you all basically meet with Preston or whatever, I would say meet with Dr. Temple, and the exact points and questions you're bringing up, I would basically put her on the spot and ask her basically how on her watch she can allow this to happen.
Fair enough. I would like to go into that conversation with facts and numbers and metrics,
Which
so that it's not of an opinion.
These
It's
two
a fact.
these two
Mr.
people-
Thorne's got the fact.
These
He
two
knows
people
exactly
are
the fact.
suggesting we'd be better served not being in charter school. Those are the words that came out of their mouth. Maybe you'd be better served not being in charter. Maybe this model no longer works.
You know, a lot of
I And
Death by a thousand cuts.
I can tell you, Dr. Temple was very receptive when we spoke this evening, and he was definitely going to advocate. I feel he's going to try and advocate. She said that much, but the word still, the word is still the word. Prentice said you're better off not being in charter school.
Is it Prentice that you knew, or the,
Well,
or do you know
that's
somebody?
the motivation. No, I don't know.
Somebody that off.
I know the assistant superintendent.
Well, this report's got some updates. It's a lot. I tried to boil it down, but the first one is the Accountability Act that we salvaged the budget approval for by local district, CCSD. There's a lot of accountability in here that we have to get done right away. So we're going to be, our charter board's platform is going out of business. We're going to have more robust one. All of our minutes and meetings and financials and even credit card statements have to be searchable and findable. Part of the Accountability Act, audits, budgets on websites. So it's here for you guys to look at and stuff. We're working hard right now in the summertime to make all this happen. This one here just talked about the public grading changing. Removes no 350. You can get a 0 or a 27. If you don't do your work during the class, you can't do credit recovery or content recovery, which is pretty old school. Kind of a good thing. If you didn't do the work before, why do it later on? So, board ethics training, there'll be some additional training that's going to be required by you all, I think, or by CCSD.
Quick question: has everyone completed the training?
I have not, but it's on demand now.
Okay.
We might do a hall pass system for next year. We are going to do a hall pass system for next year. Kids will actually have to scan in the school, scan in the class. They'll scan out to go to the restroom. They'll scan to go there. So it ties into Power School. So when a kid scans in the class, that's their attendance. So it's teacher that doesn't take attendance. The teacher scans the class in to start it, and then the kids scan in, and it goes right to their attendance. And if they want to go to the restroom, they scan out and say restroom or whatever else. They scan back in as times that are recommended for them in the restroom, etc. A really cool feature that this part of this program, right? Parents can actually do parent notes via text message. So a handwritten note from a parent, which can be forged, probably are sometimes. Now they can actually do a text message, and so there's it sounds like Fred Flintstone clocking in at the rock yard a little bit, which is kind of cool. But it's also nice in that you don't disrupt the class. You can do a hall pass. You just go to the machine and clock in, clock out. You can also text message your doctor notes, your parent notes, etc. So really cool feature. Obviously, highly safety. When the kid arrived at 8:15, but never went to class until 9:15 or stuff.
So is it different? How is it similar or not like Smart Pass?
The Smart Pass is just a hall pass system. The teacher would take attendance every day on Power School and go through the seating chart, that kind of thing. They forget a lot of times. We do audit that and make sure that they do it. This puts the onus on the kids on being there. And then the hall pass situation is it's more like, just nod to the teacher that you want to use the hall pass. They clock in. If they walk around for 15 minutes, then it's going to be, you're gone for 15 minutes. And then automates it so the parent can see.
So it's like similar to Smart Pass, like where
It's like taking Smart Pass and putting it into Power School with attendance feature.
Yeah.
got it. Thank you.
Does the
I was
dashboard
asking.
still?
Good, yeah, okay.
The cost the same?
But yeah. Cheaper.
Cheaper.
Are you still going to get a phone call every time your athlete leaves early for a game that
We
your kid's
can't
gonna
seem to fix that. I've called
Yeah.
downtown.
Yes, you will.
Cool.
So I mentioned the platform, the board meetings, it'll be more robust. The enrollment is right here, 1551, but our waiting 135 is still very high. School choice, we only have 6 kids left on the senior wait list and 3 of the sophomore list, but we're still around 1,600 for next year, so we're in good shape. Technology, cameras going smoothly, doing the wireless screencasting, which is this screen beam right here going on right now. In fact, E-rate cycle, which helps us save money as well. Tech support about present to the requests. STEAM renovation, we can skip this. Science classrooms, doing inspection tomorrow. I believe HVAC unit goes in later in July. Dragging on way too long. Own them off their property. To be done. Sick of spending money.
Yeah, they got smoked on a lead time on some.
Yeah,
And then in the
it's weird.
beginning, there was some design issues at the beginning too, for what it's worth. So
The
I'm
whole
happy to
discussion,
elaborate.
the start of the project was all about HVAC. And in the end, it all about HVAC. But it has no bearing in the next school year. It's gonna be done. It's mostly close to being done now. And
They are also ready to be done, I promise you.
yeah, we're all
Sure.
kind of
Oh,
caught up.
sure.
And there's OSF stuff and best laid plans.
There was some delay stuff at the beginning that never gets talked about till when it's late at the end, but I'm happy to elaborate if anybody's interested.
All right, thank you, Mr. Thorne. With that, that concludes the public portion of our meeting. Is there any reason to go into executive session?
Nope.
No reason. And I believe we do not meet in July, so we'll meet again in August. Have a date on that? We just approved. Looks like it would be August the 17th. That's the third, what person was she? Oh, from,
Yeah.
yeah. So he was payment of stock. So there was no form, I think before Ms. Delante, resigned from her company and left, there was no, agreement put in place, but basically the paychecks that stopped. So as far as I know, there's been no more correspondence. Mr. Dorn, are you aware of any? Yeah. Never. I mean, we went completely, radio silent on Ms. Delante. So, and Mr. Jones reached out to me individually to try to work it out and so forth, and I didn't even respond. I shut Ms. Delante. So I think he might have abandoned Mr. Jones as well. So yeah, I'm not sure what all happened there. So anyway, with that, we were planning to see you on August 17th, and with that, that concludes our